What's going on, guys? Good morning and good afternoon and good evening around the world to our listeners. I hope you guys are having a beautiful start to today. I'm coming to you from an actual beautiful day here in Vancouver, but with a bunch of snow laying on the ground outside. If I could turn my camera and show you, you might be able to see it in the background just here. But yeah, we've got some big white. So it's really nice, actually. When you get that kind of change between the sun and the snow, it feels refreshing. But it's when the rain kicks in when it sucks, right? So yeah, it's really, really nice. Counting down the days till we get over to Aussie and get to see all my kings and queens. I can't wait to catch up with you guys. And don't forget that if you can spare the weekend of the 17th, and you're in Australia, we're going to be doing a bit of a stomp and a beer if we can. I'm pretty excited to catch up with a few of you guys, which is going to be awesome. No doubt we can get a few workouts in as well. So we're going to start this episode in 2 minutes, guys. So let me know if you're coming in. By the way, I invested in a new bottle. It's a little bit different. So I don't know about you guys, but I used to get those ones where, you know, the big ones, the big bottles. They're kind of like that big, two liters or whatever. And what kept happening is I kept dropping it full of water at the gym, and then the ass would just crack out of the bottom of it. And so I decided to just get one of these like slightly smaller ones. I think it's a liter, so it has the kind of writing on the side, and it's nice and thick. So if I drop it, it's good. Anyway, that's my wisdom for today. We're going to get started in 1 minute. Let me say hello to my folks. Hey, Kiara, lovely to have your company in here today. No doubt a podcast replay listener. So good to have you in here live. Hello, Tez. I decided to put it just slightly later today to see if we can change up the audience. I don't know if it's better or worse, but we'll just see how we go. Good morning, guys. Hazel and I are in here. Hey, Kenny, how's it going, mate? Nikki Friend, my legend, is in here. I hope you're having an okay week, Nikki. I know it's been a big time for you, mate. So, yeah, lovely to have you in here, buddy. Pete Bryant, it is good to see you, Pete, redoing what you were doing at the start and coming into these lives when you can. I know you got a busy time, Pete. We're going to start in 30 seconds, guys. I know you got a busy life, Pete, so it's good to see you in here. Jackie, how are you, mate? I hope the little chat helped out with your young fella the other day, which is good. Kevy Grant's in here. Speaking of another one returning to what she did at the start. Hello, M. Louise. Lovely to have your company. Wendy, my heart is with you, love. I understand what's going on at the moment, and it must be incredibly challenging. So just wanted to let you know that we love you, girl. Warren Todd, how are you? I hope you're good, my man. Guys, we're about to get started. Jennifer Lovegrove is here as well. Hello, Jen. And Karina is here, but I don't know why it's not showing up. I need to send you a link, Karina, but it doesn't matter. You're here. You're ready to go. So we're going to bring in Instagram, and we're going to get started on this right now. All right, guys, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to the Better Body Academy podcast. This is the podcast that you come to when you are sick of the dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. I'm going to say that again because I want it to hit. The dumb diets, stupid diets, unsustainable programs, trying to go from being really, really intense in your transformation to then falling off the horse and restarting again. And guys, it doesn't need to be that hard, okay? This is about consistency, not intensity. Now, in today's podcast, what I'm going to be doing is having a discussion around hopes and dreams. I don't know what it is, but I'm a little bit nervous about this podcast internally, and the reason is because I want this to hit. Now, there's a reason that I'm doing the podcast. This morning, inside of our first women's mastermind group chat, I received a message sent from one of the girls, Kelly Brown, and she's absolutely crushing it. She's crushing it. She's a product of the mastermind and her own personal development. She's doing amazing things in the world now. And I wanted to use that as a catalyst to come in and challenge you guys. So to the 20 people that are watching live, feel free to get involved in this podcast because I want this one to hit. I want to talk to you about, I want to talk to the person inside of you that dreams of being more, of having more, of experiencing more. Now, in order to do this, in order to be able to talk to that person, I need to be able to have you or ask you permission to listen up and stand to the side the fearful person, the fearful part of you, the jealous part of you, the vengeful part of you, the part of you that is comparing with everyone out there, the part of you that's holding yourself back. I need you for 10 to 15 minutes to move that person to the side so I can talk to the courageous, brave part of you. Now, a lot of people come into Better Body Academy, or apply rather to come into Better Body Academy. And here's what they say in the application. They say, when I ask them, why do you want to join this transformation program? So many people say, I just want to become the best version of myself. That's what I want. That's why I want to do this. I want to be the best version of myself. And usually it's because they want to do it for their kids, as an example. Okay? They go through this process where they binge listen to the podcasts. They're preparing mentally to take a leap. I almost think of it like they're an Olympic diver on the blocks. I can see their toes hanging over the edge of the blocks. There they are. The toes are hanging over the edge of the blocks. They're about to jump. And it's like, ready, set, come the fuck on, let's go, jump in, man. And then we pull back. We turn around because we're scared. We're doubtful. We back out. And to even some of those of you that are watching this podcast or listening live who have started inside a Better Body Academy but haven't gone all in, this is the podcast for you. You become gripped by fear, being worried about failure, being worried about judgment. Who feels that? Let me know in the comments if you feel that every day. You're about to change your life, but the inner self-doubt causes us to flop back into what we call the comfort zone. You're just about to break through. The bubble's about to pop, but then you snapped back into the comfort zone. Who knows exactly what I'm talking about? I'm getting some yeses in the comments here. But then there are the ones who follow through and go all in. John Timmons, who's lost 35 kilograms and now run 2 marathons. Kelly Brown, who, as I discussed at the start of this podcast, has overcome her imposter syndrome to step on stage as a speaker. Nico Koshia, who overcome his drug addiction and has had 2 successful restaurants now opened and become a competitive powerlifter. Dan Williams, who quit with bugger all money in his bank account and now has a thriving boat building business. Shakai Mitchell, who lost 55 kilograms and got a start in the NRL and has now just re-signed on a contract for 2 years with the Bunnies. Corey Donnell, Nick Duggan, Christy Keenan, Michelle Follett, who've all stepped up big time in their careers. Coaches Carly Stewart, Nick Thornton, who overcome massive mindset and health issues to become BBA coaches. Guys, the list is endless. But one thing is true about these people. They got themselves mentally and physically in the right shape to be able to create a life. The truth is, you can't hit a target that doesn't exist. And so many of us dare not dream bigger because we can't see past our own circumstances where we currently are. We think that because we've struggled with things in the past, we're always going to struggle with things in the future. We think that history is going to repeat itself. Well, guess what? If you don't change your thinking and don't get mentally and physically in shape, that's exactly what's going to happen. Nothing changes unless something changes. Does this make sense? So what I want to do here, just for a quick moment, and this is going to be a pretty short podcast, I want to talk a bit with some creative visualization. Guys, what separates humans from the rest of the creatures on this earth is the ability to think, the ability to dream, and the ability to make decisions. This is what separates us from a duck, a gorilla, and a fish. The ability to think, the ability to dream and create, and the ability to make decisions. Although many of us are lost in what the famous writer Napoleon Hill calls hypnotic rhythm. Hypnotic rhythm. Break that word down. Hypnotic rhythm. We just wake up. We do the same thing day in, day out. Day in, day out. Like a pendulum. And we wonder why nothing changes. We wonder why nothing changes. Because we are locked in a hypnotic rhythm where we're getting up and not using our creative mind to change our circumstances. And that's why things stay the same. So, the two profound questions that I want to hit you with right now are this. Guys, listen up. Try to stop what you're doing and listen up. Because if you can come up with some answers to these two profound questions over the course of the coming months, your life will change. Travis, I am looking at you. Here are the profound questions. Number one, what would you do if you were not scared to fail or scared of judgment? What would you do if you were not scared to fail or not scared of judgment? Number two, how would your life be different if you were in better shape physically and mentally? So I want to expand upon these two questions a little bit. Let's go for the first one first. What would you do if you were not scared to fail? Guys, listen up. If you were not scared to fail and you were not scared of judgment, what would you do? Right now, you are not doing something that you want to do because you're scared. That's what's going on right now. You're not being the person you want to do because you're scared. This is all of us. I'd be interested in anyone commenting and let me know what their thing is. What are you not doing because you're worried about looking like a dick in front of your mates? What are you not doing because you're worried about being judged by the people in your circle? You're worried that it's not going to work out. But it could be the thing that moves the needle with you just enough to help you reach what it is you want to reach. When you overcome the fear, you become the untethered version of yourself. Do you know how they train an elephant? This is how they train an elephant in a zoo or in a circus. They clip a clamp to its ankle and put it on a chain of said length. At the other end of the chain, they put a stake in the ground. Now, an elephant is a fairly intelligent creature. And so what it does is the elephant kicks and screams to start, but then soon realizes that it can't get any further than the length of that chain. So then, for a period of months, the elephant stays in its comfort zone simply because it can't go any further. But then at a certain time, the conditioning is so embedded that even when the cuff is removed from the elephant's ankle, it still stays within that radius that it created mentally. This is a representation of our comfort zone. So the question I've got for you is, why are you still feeling like the elephant? Still feeling tethered? Feeling like you've got a cuff around your ankle that's pinning you to the ground? For me, the one thing that kept me stuck, and this is going to sound a little bit weird, the one thing that kept me stuck was the fear of skydiving. It's funny. My dad would say to me, "Hey Jace, I'll give you $5,000 to go skydiving," because he knew his money was so safe that I would never do it. And so for a period of time, I was the guy that would be waiting at the bottom while the friends went skydiving because I was so fucking scared. Now, I'm not saying that skydiving in and of itself is the thing that unleashes things for you. Skydiving was for me, a representation of me being limited. It was a representation of what I was being held back from doing in the world. But what I knew fundamentally was that on the other side of me doing a skydive, at what would have been 36 or 7 years old, it literally took me 2 decades to build up to doing this. What I knew was on the other side of that skydive laid freedom. Freedom from being tethered. Freedom from being stuck. Freedom from feeling like I couldn't do something. Because if I could overcome the greatest fear that I had in my mind, in my life, well, then I could do anything. I could create a podcast. I could leave my job, finally, and go and follow my passion and my purpose. So for you, I want you to have a deep think about this. What are you not doing because you are fearful? And if you are able to conquer that thing, and it might take time, but if you're able to slowly move towards that fear could be an addiction. That fear could be public speaking. That fear could be having a conversation with someone that you don't want to have. That fear could be overcoming this innate constricting feeling that you have of when you fail, you'll be judged by your family, you'll be judged by your friends. Whatever that fear is for you, and I've got one of our clients, Jimmy, saying cooking more meals at home. He was scared of that because he didn't know how to cook. Great. Whatever the fear is for you, if you were to conquer that fear, and he says it sounds silly, no sillier than my skydive sounds. We've all got the thing, Jim, that's holding us back. It's not about the thing, it's what the thing represents. Your fear might be getting naked in front of your partner. Your fear might be looking in the mirror. Your fear might be going and getting your driver's license. But the fact that you have this fear that keeps coming up tethers you and reminds you that you're the elephant, even though the cuff is no longer around your ankle. Does this make sense, guys? So the first question, and I'm going to leave this question now, what would you do if you were not worried about failure and rejection? Next question to go a little bit deeper on. How would your life be different if you got in better mental shape? You know, mental and physical shape, I think that it's a really interesting, I don't know if any of you guys saw the post that I put on Facebook last night. It was kind of an angry post that I got from someone that I've been speaking to for a while that was telling me that his partner went out and bought a fistful of supplements. And he was just looking and going, oh, fuck, like, serious? Just get some coaching. Understand what you need to do rather than trying to buy into these quick fixes. Guys, if you start playing the forever game and stop fucking around with these small little things that you hope will stop you from needing to actually do the real work that needs to be done, guess what? You'll start getting the result quicker. You'll start showing up for yourself. And then what will actually start happening when you start to adopt a healthier lifestyle physically and mentally, what will actually happen is you'll start to love the process. Why? Because you love how it makes you feel. And so if you're saying, I want to be the best version of myself, well, let's entertain what that best version of yourself actually looks like. I'm guessing, is that the best version of yourself is an illustration of you. You have a vision of you that is in some way representative of physical and mental health for you. I'm guessing the best version of yourself doesn't involve you sitting on the couch watching Netflix. There's nothing wrong with having downtime. I'm not suggesting that. But if you're complaining about your physical fitness and you're sitting down watching Netflix and you're complaining that you're so tired, the reason you're tired is not because you have no energy. The reason you're tired is because you're not moving. You're not fueling your body. So you feel tired. Feeling tired is the product, not the start point. Does this make sense? So what would the best version of you actually look like physically? What would you be doing? How would you be showing up for yourself? What are you not experiencing because you're mentally and physically not in the shape that you want to be in? And how would losing 5, 10, 20 kilos, whatever it is for you, or getting stronger physically, or looking in the mirror and loving your complexion because you radiate health and you love yourself again, what would that do? What would that do? I call this the ladder to liberation. Let's talk about this briefly. At the bottom level, we start working on our physical self. That's the entrance point. We start working on our physical self, okay? We're talking here about improving our weight, improving our strength, improving our muscle tone, whatever it is. What happens when you do that is at the next level, how you feel is impacted. So the physical impacts the feel. Do you know when you start to make progress and you look in the mirror and you feel more confident, you feel more energetic, you feel great? Now, what does that do? The feeling that you feel, which was created by the change to your physicality, takes you to the top level of the ladder. All of a sudden, because you are better physically, you feel better mentally and emotionally, and then you go out and you take that attitude into the world and you prosecute that at your job, at your business, in your relationships, you earn more money, you get more promotions. This is what it's about. And so what we need to do is reverse engineer this. Let's go back to the start. Rather than thinking and asking ourselves, oh man, like I'm really struggling to get motivated, and instead have a vision for what you'd love your life to look like. I would love my life to look like I'm earning lots of money. I would love my life to look like I am in a deep, vulnerable relationship with a couple of kids, whatever it is for you. And then reverse engineer that. How would that person have to act to get that? We'll tell you how. They'd need to be confident in themselves. They need to love themselves. They need to have a high self-esteem. They need to have a high self-worth. Okay, that's great, Jace. How do you reverse engineer that? You go back down. You create more energy by getting into the gym and training despite the fact that you're scared of it. By fueling your body with good, whole foods that make you feel like you're fucking alive again. By doing the physical stuff. We call this the ladder to liberation. Does this make sense, guys? If one person does one thing as a result of this podcast, I am super happy. If you are locked in this hypnotic rhythm where it's kind of like, I get it's hard. I get it's very hard to get out of the rhythm. But you're repeating to yourself, oh, life's hard. Life's hard. Life's hard. Life's hard. Life's hard. And I am not trivializing the fact that at times it is really fucking hard. And I'm complaining about the lack of sleep that I got last night because I've got 2 healthy kids. I'm quite aware of the people that are in my network that are in some deep struggles at the moment. Deep struggles. It is hard. But the first thing you've got to do is you've got to believe that there's an alternative. You've got to believe that there's more. And if you're willing to entertain that thought and keep breaking the pattern, and every time you find yourself complaining about your circumstances, instead say, nope, that's a story. That's a story that I'm telling myself. I'm an addict. I need to break this. Things are not going right for me at the moment. That's a story that I am telling myself. You got to keep overriding the program over and over again. Does this make sense? I want you for a moment to just wake up and use the imagination that the duck swimming in the pond out there or the elephant didn't get. You got the imagination. What can you possibly conceive? What can you possibly think? Hey, you know what? What if I did lose 10 kilos? Like, what would that do? How would that make me feel? I was having a chat to one of my favorite guys this morning who's watching this podcast, Kev Grant. People are now starting to come to Kev for health advice. How good's that? He's not charging anything. He's not asking for anything back, but they're inspired by his journey. And when people start to ask you and you start to, can you imagine what this would do for your self-actualization when you actually start to not only put a roof above your head, but you start to inspire the people in your network? Can you imagine what it's like for Dan Troutman when Ben Richardson joins our program because of the results that Dan Troutman got? When you start to become an inspiration, you start to go up levels. And when you start going up levels, all of a sudden, the things that are obscured at your current view, which you can't see because you're not tall enough, we go up a couple of levels, and all of a sudden, because of the change in trajectory of our view, all of a sudden, we can start seeing things in the distance. We catch a glimpse of things in the distance that we didn't know existed when we were slightly shorter. And each level you grow, each level you grow, each level you grow, you see more and more of your future potential. If you're being held back in any way by fear, I call to you in this podcast and say, girl, guy, move towards the fear. It's okay if it takes time. It's okay if it's slow progress. That's okay. But moving towards this best version of yourself is going to start by you answering these two questions. What are you not doing as a result of fear of failure or judgment? And how would your life change if you got yourself in great physical and mental shape? Guys, I hope this podcast has been beneficial for you on this, what is Thursday morning or Wednesday afternoon for most of you. This has been the Better Body Academy podcast, the podcast that you come to when you're sick of the dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. And I'll see you guys in the next